to this week's edition of Feedback Learnex, where we have such an interesting topic, Mexica wedding ceremonies or morning of tilma. The tilma tie is one of the most representative Mexican ceremonies of this culture. It is registered in the Mendocino Codex and is a cosmic spiritual ceremony full of symbolism and love. Marriage in pre-Hispanic Mexico. The morning of the tilma and the huipil is an ancient pre-Hispanic marriage ceremony loaded with symbolism. It is rather a spiritual promise, a commitment of two souls who wish to be united for all eternity. That is to say, in here and now, but also in the afterlife, in the place of eternal rest. For the Mexica, marriage was an indissoluble act and had to be carried out in the correct way so that it was not invalidated. It was the groom's relatives who decided when the young man should take a wife, and they also chose the bride. Later, they asked the midwives in charge of these tasks to take the message to the bride's family and begin negotiations for marriage. Everything was a ceremony, from the request of the hand, since the parents of the groom had to go to the house of the bride to offer gifts, which were rejected on more than one occasion by her parents as a token of dignity. It was until the fourth attempt when the midwives managed to close the business and the bride's relatives accepted the commitment. The groom's parents brought valuable gifts such as coffee, cacao, wine, corn, and from that moment until the wedding day, the bride could no longer speak to anyone or leave her home. Once the commitment was made, the fortune tellers were asked what would be the most fortunate date to carry out the ceremony. Among the most recommended days were Cuahuatli, Osomatli, Acatl, and Cali. And that was how the wedding date was decided. One day before the morning, a banquet was offered at the bride's house where the nobles, young men, teachers, parents of the couple attended, who drank cacao and pulque. There were a great number of people, old and young, offering blankets or corn to the bride and groom in front of a fire. The bride and groom sat on a mat woven with palm and their huipil and tilma, a cotton blanket that is tied around the shoulder as a kind of cape, were tied by a priest. Already being married, they fed each other with tamales, fruits, and seeds. In the center of the altar, an incense was placed, to which they had to offer copal while they raised prayers to their gods for a happy marriage. Subsequently, they remained 4 days in separate rooms. These were prepared by the priest, who placed a mat inside each room, the man's covered with feathers and the woman's with flowers and precious stones. During those 4 days, they only had to pray to the gods for the welfare of their marriage. Finally, they left their rooms and could already sleep together to consummate their marriage. Tilma morning syncretism. In present day, the tying of the tilma is still carried out, but since the ritual has been rescued by oral tradition, the forms have changed over the years. This depends on the Mexican dance group, the Mascalpuli, or grandfather of ancestral wisdom that performs it. That's it for this week's edition of Feedback Learnex. We hope you enjoyed this very interesting topic. Stay tuned next week, 9:15 p.m. on Thursday night.